I was born in Lodz, Poland. It was known as the proletarian city because it was the biggest industrial city in Poland. I personally come from a Jewish socialist home. The movement was known as the Bund, which was a Jewish socialist party. And I attended a kindergarten and a school which were creations of that movement. Sort of filled me as a child with a kind of feeling to know that my parents were involved in a mission that would make life better for everyone, especially for the oppressed. And my father was quite a leading figure within the Bund and within the trade union movement. As soon as the Germans occupied the city, life became very difficult for the Jewish population. There was nothing to protect us that normally protects citizens under the law. Nothing. And we were scared. Food became very scarce. My father had to leave Lodz because he was on the list of the Gestapo, on the list for activists to be arrested. My uncle with the same surname was arrested, put into prison, tortured and then shot. When they herded all the Jews into the ghetto, which became known as Litzmannstadt ghetto, we were herded in with the others. It was, completely surrounded by barbed wire, and no one could get out, and contact with the outside world stopped for us. It was a dreadful place to be in. I think there were 165,000 of us herded into the poorest part of the town. Soon, hunger and epidemics took over. Food was very scarce. I was a child of 11, questioning lots of things, which no one could give me the answer. And by the skin of our teeth, we held on to a semblance of humanity, still trying to care for others. But life became very difficult, very miserable. People became demoralized. We were forming in groups of 5, and we were reading books with an elder friend, and we were analyzing the books. And I still remember reading Les Miserables. And I remember we were cold and frozen and hungry, and we were analyzing in somebody's home the heroes of the book, and we felt sorry for them. So that was quite an accomplishment. And it was sad because I still see the faces of all my friends who either died or were deported, and then we were deported when the ghetto was liquidated at the end of 44, in September 44. I don't want to talk about anymore. I was sent together with my mother to Auschwitz. and I never saw her again. And she was all of 44 years old. And a short time in a labor camp near Hanover, and then the camp was liquidated and we marched to Belsen. I think everyone knows or read what Belsen was like. How I survived, I don't know. Survived because no one expected me to survive. I don't remember the day of liberation because I had typhus. So not till about 4 or 5 days later, when I came back to consciousness, that I knew we were free because chunks of black bread I found under my straw pillow on the bunk. I was not supposed to survive. I had typhus badly. I was on a bunk with 3 other women who were in the throes of death. They all died next to me. And when you died, they just threw you outside onto a heap of corpses, where many of my friends ended up. So, but somehow, despite everything, I survived. And from then on, hospital, that I was sent with a group of others to Sweden for recuperation. Then I got to know that my brother, that he survived and was in England. And eventually I came to England in 1947, and I had to stay with a family who sort of sponsored me. I could only come as a domestic worker. And after a year, I managed to get a visa to work in the Yiddish theatre in the East End. I suddenly was pushed on a professional stage and just started playing. I always was interested, and even in the ghetto and the camp, I would recite Yiddish poetry, which I remembered, because quite surreptitiously we used to meet in one sort of barrack. We used to crawl out late in the evening when it was very dark into one room in a barrack, and whoever could contributed in Polish, in Yiddish, singing songs of freedom. So we did not succumb or give up. Sag nicht keinmal, als du gehst am letzten Weg, wenn Himmeln bleierne verstellen bläue Tag, kommen wird noch unser ausgebänkte Schau, s wird abheugt an unser Trott mir seinen da. It simply means don't ever say this is the final road, for the day that we long for will come, and we'll be able to say, we are here. Humans are strong. The thing that was in my favor was my age. And when you're young, and no matter what, you want to go on living. And you also hope that you will meet up with your family. We had hoped and dreamed of seeing them again and not giving up. And in the theatre I met my future husband, who was doing all the sets. 1949, we actually got married. Whitechapel was such a busy road, a market on the street, Brick Lane, colourful characters. And there were delicatessen shops, bakery shops, grocery shop. It really was very colourful. I liked walking down Whitechapel Street.